Okay, so this other fragrant beauty that I brought up here is an Itoh Peony called Bartzella. So I want to talk a little bit about Itoh Peonies in general. And I know this is kind of obviously a flowering shrub talk. This is not necessarily a shrub, but it sort of is, so I brought it up. So there's two types of peonies, or originally there were two types of peonies. There are tree peonies, which are, kind of shrubs, basically. They have woody stems. The stem survives the winter, and it grows each year from last year's woody stem. So it is a woody shrub, basically. Tree peonies have very unique flowers, really, really interesting flowers, cool textures, colors that you don't normally see out of old-fashioned peonies, so yellows and oranges and things like that. Then the other type of peony is a herbaceous peony, or the old-fashioned peonies that a lot of people are familiar with. Maybe you had them, at your home growing up, or on a farm you see a fence row of them, things like that. Peonies are very long-lived plants, been around a long time. And those herbaceous peonies have traditionally white or pink flowers. They have a lot of flowers. They tend to flop open quite a bit because the flowers are very heavy. They have a lot of them and the stems are fairly weak, so they tend to flop open and need some support or structure of some kind to hold them up. In the 50s, a Japanese plantsman, his last name was Itoh, was able to successfully cross them. They're called intersectional hybrids. So he was able to cross the tree peony with the herbaceous peony, and that's where we get the Itoh Peonies. Unfortunately, he passed away before his first hybrid even flowered, so he never even got to see the fruits of his labor. But we're very thankful for the work that he did, because these are absolutely gorgeous plants. And when he developed these crosses, you basically get the best of both worlds. So you get the strength and stability of the tree peony because they don't flop over. You get the really interesting colors and textures and fragrances from tree peonies. So, this yellow peony right here, you would never find a yellow old-fashioned peony or herbaceous peony. So you get these really cool yellows and oranges and speckled flowers, all different things like that. You get the higher bud count from the herbaceous peony, so you get a lot of flowers like you would on a traditional peony. So best of both worlds, and you also get these stronger stems. So even this one right here, which is a young plant in a pot, and this is actually very nice and sturdy, even though it's hanging over here a little bit. It, with that big flower, this stem is supporting it pretty nicely. It's not bending or breaking. It's not as soft-wooded as the herbaceous peony, so it really holds up well. I have this peony at home. I have 3 of them, Bartzella. Absolutely my favorite peony. I really love it. The fragrance is great. If you like to cut flowers, it's a great cut flower. The bright, pure yellow, this is more of a personal preference, but I like yellow flowers. I don't love gold. This is a pure yellow, so really like that a lot. It's got kind of a cool center, kind of, some orangey colors, and the inner parts of the flower, the reproductive parts, are really unique and attractive. So cool plant. What do you do with Itoh Peonies in the fall is a question I get fairly often. So I actually like to leave mine up during the winter time, and then in the early spring I'll get in there and trim back the stems to wherever I see new growth. Unlike a tree peony, which you basically leave up and just cut off the dead flowers, on a Itoh peony, they either will start budding out from right at the crown of the plant, sometimes from the ground, sometimes from, say, an inch or 2 up. So you don't have to whack it all the way at the ground like you would an old-fashioned peony. If you want to cut it in half late winter time and then see where it's coming from and kind of trim back the dead stems, that's perfectly fine. But again, once established, these won't require any support or structure. These are, in my own yard, are out away from the house in partial sun. They're still blooming great. They have not started. They're just budded right now. Mine are not blooming just yet. probably because they're in a little bit of shade. So they'll bloom a little bit later. And I don't ever spray these for deer or rabbits or anything else. So really a cool plant. That one's called Bartzella, but we have a bunch of different colors available